Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is beauty. What is beauty and how is it that it can open the heart and help to connect us to an experience of the divine? So it should be fun conversation, but before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating this brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together. Vigorously rub your hands together. Feel the tickling, the tingling, the pressure, the temperature, the motion, friction, all the feels. And allow all of those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's great to be here with you this morning, and welcome everybody who's joining us. And we're talking today about beauty. So, and I'm not talking about our conventional commercial ideas of beauty. Good morning, Robin. For some reason, I am not seeing your, there you are. At first, I didn't think I was seeing your comments in my interface here, but there you are. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, Robin. And we're talking today about beauty, and it's not about conventional commercial beauty. It's not about all the things that we do to look a certain way. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about more the beauty of nature, the richness of the colors and the textures and the just the sensual experience of natural beauty, and even being able to find beauty in what might not conventionally be considered beautiful, like the terrible beauty, if I could even mix those words together, so that like a something that might seem tragic in its way, that is also has a beauty to it. That when I'm talking about beauty in this context, what I'm referring to is an experience that leads us, that is a gateway into wonder and awe and the ineffable. In other words, an experience that moves us into an opening of heart and mind that connects us sometimes with the divine, that opens us into an experience that it can be transcendent. And I'm talking about this because some people are able to get into a state of gratitude or a state of connection, open-heartedness, just by feeling grateful, thinking, being grateful. For me, my quickest way to connection with this other dimension of presence is through beauty. So it moves me in a visceral way, in a physical way, that I just open to a new dimension of experience. So Robin says there's beauty if you seek a positive message or lesson in the action that has happened. Hopefully this makes sense. So yes, I think that we can be it wonder and awe and beauty, for me, kind of all connect. And so there can be something that happens, and we can be looking at it as a gift, and that can bring us closer to this experience of how magnificent the orchestration of the universe is. And there's an intrinsic beauty to that in and of itself. We can find beauty in a flower. We can find beauty in pretty much anything if we open ourselves to perceiving something that with new eyes. So I'm very visual. Not everybody is, but for me, the colors of things, the textures of things, that even the tactile sense of textures can have such a richness to them, a rich beauty. And some people are tremendously auditory. We can be moved to tears by the beauty of someone's voice. I imagine we've all had that experience from time to time, where music, an instrumental or someone singing, just literally brings us to tears. It just wells up this physical sensation from within, and that is the heart opening that I'm talking about, that can be inspired by beauty, the wonder, the awe, the literally being moved by that experience. And I think that when we set our intention to be present to beauty, to look for beauty, to use beauty as a lens through which to experience our circumstances or our perceptions or our senses, it's such a rewarding experience. There's so much richness that moves us into another dimension of being. And so while we're talking about beauty, I guess what we're really talking about is connection with something greater, the greater being that we have the capacity for, the greater sense of connection, and again, wonder and awe I think that wonder and awe are probably my favorite state or states of being, to be cultivating the eyes of a child, where everything is new and filled with wonder and filled with possibility, this incredible exploration of things that are unknown. And it's in our knowing of things that we allow their actual presence to be diminished, their actual essence, we stop seeing how beautiful something is because, oh, that's a flower, that's a leaf, that's a tree, that's a pen, that's, whatever. We label things, and we label things so that we can move on, so that we don't become totally captivated with the magic of something. And then we can continue to function and get stuff done. You can think of it that way, right? But I mean, if we're good morning, good morning, good morning, Rosalind. It's so funny that you say good morning, beauties, given that we're talking about beauty today. Good morning and good evening, Gia. So good to have you back with us. Welcome. And again, welcome to everybody else who's joining us. We're talking about beauty being a pathway to the divine, a pathway to an experience of awe and wonder, and how that space of awe and wonder opens us, opens our hearts, opens our possibility. It creates a very attractive magnetic field to be in that space of deep appreciation and connection. And I was just talking about how we name things and label things in order to be able to dismiss them in a way, in order to be able to compartmentalize things so that we don't get enthralled by the magic of them. And yet that magic is around us all the time. And remembering that we live in a magical universe is something that is a profound gift to ourselves. It's so Gia says, I was listening, then realized I wasn't in EWN and you can't read my messages. So I switched on here. I'm glad you did, Gia. Thank you. And if anybody else is writing comments and I'm not responding, please go to the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. And if you put your comments there, then I should see them. But otherwise, I don't get to see them. And I'm not ignoring you. It's just that I don't see your comments. So thank you for pointing that out, Gia. Much appreciated. And so I guess what we're talking about is how to, maybe I should have called this morning, how to create magic in your world, right? Because it's always there. And we get so conditioned by our environment and our busyness to get things done that we rush through life, and we don't give ourselves the gift of recognizing the magic. So yesterday in my coaching group, we were talking about time and the times when we are not feeling oppressed by the demands that we cultivate around time, like this has to be done by a certain time. And, I have so much to do and so little time, and all those conversations. And then we also acknowledge that there's a space where I don't know if you've experienced this kind of thing, where you had 10 minutes to get somewhere that it took 15 minutes to get to, and yet you got there on time. And it's that kind of time and space bending that I think beauty can be the doorway to, at least for me. For me, connecting to beauty is easy because, it's like eye candy. My senses just explode with delight. And when that happens, my heart opens and I become much more connected. And when we're more connected, then we can be more responsive to the calling of life that's calling us forward to act in particular ways, to take particular actions, rather than being compelled in our doing all the time, which is often quite robotic. We get into a pattern of just doing mindlessly without presence. And beauty is a vehicle, a really powerful pathway to presence. And in that presence, a heart opening as well. So Robin says, time and tide wait for no man. If I'm running short, I ask the Lord to slow time down if possible. I ask the angels to help me get there safely and closer to correct time. So, it's interesting. You say time and tide wait for no man. And what's interesting is that we all transcend time at one time or another, right? We all have the capability to bend time. I mean, I'm sure that you've experienced moments when you're involved in something, and then you look up and somehow hours have passed, and yet no time went by. It felt like minutes. You have no idea where that time went because it just passed. You were in another place, you were in another zone. And other times it feels like a minute can take forever. And so what we're looking at is the variability of time, or the experience of it. And, like where a day could take forever, and yet you don't know what happened to the past 10 years, for instance. Like, where did it go? And it's when what we discovered in our conversation is that the times when we are in a space of timelessness is those times are typically when we are in a state of being rather than doing. And I don't mean you're not doing anything, but you're present to beingness rather than this automated mechanical doing. And that beingness is what we're talking about in terms of beauty being a passageway that enables us to access that state. And I'm playing with that idea. I mean, I think that that's true. It's a hypothesis I'm testing. So I invite you to test it as well, to notice when you presence yourself to beauty, what happens? Because my physiology changes, my body changes, my heart opens when I connect with beauty. And I don't have another pathway that is effective for me in that way. Um, Beauty is a pathway to gratitude for me. And I'm wondering if that's the same for you, like that once I'm connected to beauty, there's this heart opening, and then I can really experience deep gratitude. I can experience deep gratitude for the beauty too, along with the wonder and awe. And what all of this is path to presence. I guess that's really what this conversation is about, with beauty as the vehicle, with beauty as a pathway to really deep experience of presence and connection. So uh, it's interesting. It's interesting that the beauty industry is such a big, big, big industry. And that is completely different conversation from what we've been talking about, because that the beauty industry is kind of almost a polar opposite to what we're talking about. Gia says, I love this connection. Beauty equals gratitude equals connection equals presence. Wow. Thank you, Gia. Thank you for that. Yeah. This is, I mean, it's a pathway that is something, for me anyway, I can invoke that. I can evoke that very, very readily. And I was just talking about the contrast between that true essence of beauty versus like the beauty industry, which is based on insecurity and in certain ways lack of self-worth or acceptance, like I have to do all these things in order to be beautiful so that people will love me or care about me or be attracted to me, or this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the intrinsic beauty that we are and that we can connect to. And I guess as a practice, it's a practice that for me, it's so immediately rewarding to be putting my attention on beauty. And not saying, well, this is beautiful and this is ugly and this, not like that, but to be seeing truly, when we allow ourselves to see without the labels, when we allow ourselves to wonder, to notice the colors, the lights, the shadows, the sounds, the sensations, when we allow ourselves to experience those things, we are presencing ourselves. It's easier for me to do that than to close my eyes and focus on my breath. And it's an interesting dynamic. So many, to go inward is one movement, but to be able to use the outward stimulus to be able to go inward is kind of a wonderful thing. Like it's an open-eyed meditation. So Robin says, find beauty in the indifference of our journey. Oh, wow, that's so interesting. The indifference of our journey. Huh. That's it feels like a koan to me, Robin, because yeah, it's like I don't even know what to say. You've left me speechless. So, and I love that there's maybe a beauty of detachment too. To find beauty just in how things unfold in life itself. You know, there's beauty all around us. And it's a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice to be able to see beauty. We get to choose the lens through which we look, because we could be, and many people do choose to see ugliness and to put a lot of attention on that. It's interesting. I in a session with a client the other day, when we first got on the call, they were really mellow and happy. And then they started talking about work, and they literally worked themselves into a lather, and they got so annoyed and angry and anxious, and just through their own conversation, like they were just talking about this whole thing and got themselves into a whole other state. And I just said, hey, let's stop for a second. How do you feel right now? And they said, really anxious and angry and frustrated. And I said, and how did you feel when we first started the call? And how did you get to where you're feeling what you're feeling now? And what is the choice that you made to bring you to this space? And so that's what I'm talking about in terms of beauty. We get to choose. And when we make that choice, that it is such a gift. There's such a reward in it. Rosalind says, I'm creating a space that is beautiful, with lights and plants and plush fabrics to sit and meditate in. That sounds so delicious. It sounds really wonderful, Rosalind. Good for you. Beauty is such an important thing to me. And it definitely has a huge impact on how I feel. So Gia says, Mira, I'm totally feeling feverish. Suddenly it's been a hectic week though, but I just realized that when I label it as a fever and tiredness and so on, I am stressed and I don't get to experience how exactly what it feels to be feverish. I mean, I think I have never experienced it really. It's always been my thoughts dictating the experience, and I bought it at such a heavy cost. It feels differently, healthy thinking / experience. That's beautiful, Gia. Yes. So when we label it, it's a way to dismiss it, right? And you're feeling whatever you're feeling. And you said it just sort of came on suddenly. So maybe you can allow yourself to experience it without necessarily labeling it feverish. That's such a brilliant, brilliant, wonderful insight, Gia, that maybe you never really truly experienced it because we name it and dismiss it, right? It's fascinating how all that works, right? So I think that's it for this morning, folks. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for being here with me, for engaging in these conversations and inquiries. And I invite you to just bring more beauty into your life, because when you bring more beauty into your life, you're bringing more beauty into the world. So I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern here on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And I invite you to check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network's Facebook page and Enlightened World Living. And until next time, so much love to you.